Welcome to T-Boys TV. We are back again with another Hatter Show. Now, it actually ran smoothly. Obviously, I'm not on my laptop, as you lot can tell. Obviously, I'm on my phone, seeing if I can sort my laptop out. If not, then obviously we'll look into getting a new one. But for the time being, we'll be using this phone. Obviously, the people that are on the Tottenham watch along will know. But yeah, obviously back again with another Hatter Show. Obviously, episode 124. Obviously, in this one, we'll get my dad's quick thoughts on, obviously, Townsend, since he's obviously been announced as a new signing. And then, obviously, we will just be discussing the Tottenham game. And then, obviously, we'll be back again next week, next Friday, for, obviously, the Nottingham Forest game. So, yeah, like always, I'm joined with my dad. How are we, Dad?
Yeah, well, good, mate. I hope you're good. I hope everyone's well.
Yeah, likewise. But yeah, so your quick thoughts. Obviously, I done a video about it yesterday. Obviously, it's announced yesterday that we signed ANDROS Townsend. Obviously, we had one space left out of the 25-man squad. Obviously, so we always felt we were going to get someone as a free agent, especially if how games were going for us. And obviously, it's an attacker. But what did you make of that signing when it was announced?
Obviously, he's a decent player, a lot of Premier League experience. I think I watched a game, I can't remember what game it was, on Sky, and he was like a guest presenter. And that was after he'd played for us in that friendly. And I was thinking then, I reckon that we're gonna get him. Yeah, I think it's good that it's only till January, because kind of over the past couple of seasons when we signed, who was it? Jerome, and who was the midfielder we signed?
Snodgrass. Is that what you think?
Yeah. Snodgrass was okay to but Jerome eventually was better and scored some vital goals and assists, etc. So I'm hoping like Townsend does the same. And I think it's only till January to see what it's like, basically, because Barkley's not really worked out very well, and we can't really be having players on high wage packets who are not really doing anything. So there's a bit of that. So yeah, I'm hoping he's more of like the Jerome mould, and I think he probably is. He's an attacking winger. Be interesting. I think he's probably just really been brought in to play, when we have three up front, really. So yeah, it's a good signing. It's free. Nearly went to Burnley. They were obviously looking at him, so they obviously rated him. I don't know why it didn't work out. Might have been contractual reasons. Who knows? But we'll see. Potentially a good signing.
Yeah, and obviously another thing as well, he's got that, that localness, which obviously I didn't find out until yesterday. He said he don't live, too far away. So
exactly about that, but I think, and he come out and he said, I never thought I'd be, putting on the Luton shirt. I think people have sort of took that. Some people have took that as disrespect kind of comment, but I don't think it is. I think it just means that, yeah, of course, look at his career and who he's played for and where we were when he was probably in the peak of his career, etc. That's kind of what he means. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't mean it in a malicious way. And then we'll see. I think he's been brought in to be like how Cameron Jerome was. So, you know, because he's what is he, 32?
32, I believe, yeah.
You know, he's older than Barkley as well. Barkley needs to show why he's better than any other Luton player, and he hasn't done that at all, has he?
No.
So I think we'll probably see. It'll be a couple of weeks before we see him start. I think, you know, obviously we'll probably be training hard in the international break, etc. But I feel it'll probably be a game maybe against Villa. He'll come on, and then I think who we got after that, Liverpool,
yeah, Liverpool.
We might, we'll probably need him, Barkley, Chong, Mickey Arthur. We have to bring them all on, mate. But I think in that game, but yeah, these are the kind of signings we can make now. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Definitely agree with that. And going back to what you're saying about him starting, I think Rob Edwards sort of alluded to it yesterday. When the signing was announced, when it said what Rob Edwards had to say on it, he said he's going to make sure, obviously, he's fit and raring to go, but not quite Premier League fit yet. So I think that tells you that he's not going to start in the next one, which is obviously Forest. But me personally, I could maybe see him on the bench, but I don't think he'll start because obviously we've got the international break now, so I think that's going to help and get him more into the swing of things. But yeah, like I said yesterday, I think it's a good signing. Experienced player, someone we've needed. I've wanted an attacking, player, whether that's a player that is out wide or whatever. Obviously, he can play across the whole three, so that's a benefit as well. The local thing, I think that is gonna, he's gonna have that hunger, passion, determination as well to thrive and do what he can for us, put in his bit. So yeah, I think it'll be a good one if he's injury free, because that is not one issue, but that is one struggle he's had over the years, is he has been quite injury prone. But we've seen that he's a top player. His standout moment in the Premier League, I'd probably say is that goal he scored against Man City. The technique on that. I remember watching that game live, like I said yesterday, and phenomenal goal, really. So yeah, that's that on that. Let's go through some comments. Jordan says, "Hey bro, big up to yourself, mate. Hope you're well. Failed his medical for Burnley, I think, and hello T and Dad," says David. So big up to yourself. But yeah, I don't really know what happened. But if that is the case, then interesting one. But I know it was close to happening because obviously he did say in that interview done about it that he was close to getting ready to move there. Obviously, his kids were looking at obviously he was looking at schools for them, that sort of thing. So yeah, and that's another reason this helps as well, because he can just settle in straight away, can't he? Especially with him being fairly local, like he said. So that is that. But moving on away from that, so moving on to the game on Saturday. Obviously, we were early kickoff. A few times we've been, the first kickoff in the Premier League. Obviously, we was in this game. Obviously, we took on Tottenham, biggest test of the season. We said going into it, especially if how Tottenham are doing, unbeaten, controversially unbeaten. Let's be honest, but they were unbeaten going into this, and yeah, we both predicted a narrow defeat. Exact same scoreline, 2-1 victory for Tottenham. And it sort of was, wasn't it? In that sense, if you want to do it like that. But yeah, obviously the lineup for Luton was obviously Kaminsky in goal. The back three was Burke, Lockyer, and Anderson. And then I don't really know who was on the right in this game, if I'm being honest, because as the game was going on, Chio was on that left. So I'm not really too sure there, but he was obviously playing Ruddock, Nakamba, obviously Doughty on the left, Brown, Elijah, and Morris. Obviously, I was calling for Elijah to start. I thought he'd do a lot better, especially with having that confidence booster of obviously getting that goal in the midweek game against Burnley. But yeah, that was the starting 11. As for the bench, it was as follows: Giles, Johnson, Kabore, Krul, and obviously Menji, Berry, Chong, Woodrow, Barkley. Obviously missing players. Obviously Bell had that injury, didn't he, midweek. Clark, still out. Lukonga obviously out now. Osho and Potts. So, when I looked at that lineup, I thought it was decent. Me personally, I would have put Elijah in for Brown because since the Fulham game, Brown hasn't been as good for me, as effective. Doing his main role anyway. Coming back defending, he's helped out. He's done well, chipped in there. But, the goal threat, trying to, be as creative as he was against Fulham, I haven't really seen that. So for me, that I would have dropped him. Like I said, Elijah getting that goal as well would have given him a lot of confidence. Chio and Morris, you just can't drop at this moment in time. And then I think other than that, it was pretty much what I'd went for. To be honest, obviously Anderson, obviously it was only right to start him. I don't even think he come on against Burnley, if I can think from the top of my head, which we was surprised about. Obviously Burke come on and played on the left, which was weird to me, and that was to a lot of other people because we've never seen him there. A few Hull fans were telling me when he was there, they saw him there, but that's different. I haven't seen him there for us. So, it didn't really make sense to me, especially if, how well he usually plays with the right wing back. But, like I say, I was happy with the lineup, except, not literally that I wanted Brown to be dropped. I just felt it was right. But other than that, I was more than happy with it. Your thoughts on that lineup, Dad, when you saw it?
Yeah, pretty much. Not too. Yeah, I think we was probably playing a 4-4-2, but it was a bit like I say, but it's a good thing that the Kabore was dropped.
Yeah, that's something I did mention.
I thought Menji might start, but again, it was still good to see Anderson start. Brown, Brown's been getting to good areas and things like that, and he works harder than Elijah. So I weren't surprised to see him start. But I was surprised that we didn't have, start Chong. But it was interesting. Against the top team, and it shows that we're gaining confidence and we're starting two defensive. Ruddock and Nakamba's obviously going to start, but Ruddock to start again. It's probably the first time he's ever played against Tottenham as well. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was all right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like you say, there's a few there that I was surprised about. Obviously, Chong not starting. I thought we'd maybe, I weren't gonna be surprised if we definitely went with, three up front because we're at home and that sort of thing. But just with the lack of options we currently have in midfield, especially when it comes to defensively, Ruddock can do a bit of both. But if you think about it, it's only really Nakamba that's a defensive one at the moment. That is, predominantly a midfielder. Obviously, we've got a few defenders that might be able to do a job there going forward. Obviously, Osho, when he's back, I can maybe see Burke doing a role there, but it's not ideal. It's not ideal to put Burke there. So I thought it'd maybe go for Cam and then, two midfielders and then obviously two strikers. But yeah, that was that. But moving on to the first half, I'd say first 15 minutes, Tottenham had some really good chances. Kulusevski had a shot, wicked save, I thought, by Kaminsky. And they were piling up pressure on us. And, looking at that, you thought maybe it's going to be a long, afternoon. But we held through it. And as the half got on, like I say, after them first 15 minutes, I thought we grew into it. And we started doing really well. Obviously we had a goal that was... disallowed, rightly so. Looking back at it, Elijah, you can't be doing pushes like that, especially VAR and all that. They're always going to see it. But yeah, I thought we grew into it. Like I said, towards the end of the, well, not towards the end, but after the first 15 minutes of the half. But what did you make of the half?
Well, firstly, Tottenham, got good attacking players, and potentially, they probably should have been 2 or 3 up at least. But a lot of that was down to us just sort of playing the occasion and not the game. And you know, Rob Edwards was shouting at them and that, and then they started to play a little bit more confidence. Obviously, you know their danger. Son was kept quiet, or just didn't perform like he can as well. But he should be. Let's be honest. Do you know what I mean? But he didn't. They missed a couple of sitters. Good saves from Kaminsky. We were lucky not to be a couple down. Let's be honest. But it happens in a lot of games. It's football. You've got to put the ball in the back of the net. If you don't, you're always giving the other team an opportunity. So it weren't too bad. It weren't too bad in the end, But we got to start better than that, because you can't keep doing that in the Premier League. Don't matter who you playing. Like, if we'd have started like that against any other team, they'd have been peppering us exactly the same as Tottenham were. We're just lucky that Tottenham didn't score. Otherwise, potentially we could have got hiding. But football, anything can happen, and did happen. Obviously, with their player getting sent off. So yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that was the next talking point I was going to go into. Obviously, Basuma, obviously second yellow for diving. I don't know what he was playing at. It's just stupid to do. Like I say, similar to the Elijah thing, where they're always going to see that on VAR. Looking at Basuma there, you're always going to see that he's diving there with VAR, and the amount of cameras that you can see, from different angles nowadays, and it's very silly, but I weren't too gassed, and I think I said it on the watch long, even though they were down to 10 men, because, who was it? Wolves. They were down to 10 men, weren't they? And we seem to find it harder to break down 10 men, and it can be harder, not just for us in general. I've seen it for a lot of teams. It's harder, but it's very silly by him. But what did you make of that red card?
Obviously, I was watching it at first. It was actually 10 out of 10 for diving. It was quite a good one. And he was just hoping that it'd be contact. And there wasn't. And the referee saw it straight away. He didn't even need VAR. But potentially, if the ref would give a free kick, VAR would have had to have stepped in there and said, no, that ain't a free kick. Right. So, but to me as well, it's a bit of arrogance. Do you know what I mean? You do see it, but for me, that's just arrogance. We should be freeing up. We are not. It's a bit desperate, and his first foul was cynical as well. And you get that. You're going to get that from any player from the Premier League, especially if they haven't played at Kenilworth Road. You're going to get them being, ego. There's a lot of ego in today's world. And a certain player, Maddison's got it. He's a good player, and that people go, he's got every right. No, don't. Just stay humble, mate. Don't be a wanker. But it deserved it. Manager weren't happy, obviously. But the thing is, people talking about, we'll obviously get into the second half. If they still had Mourinho or still had other managers, then they might have went on to drop points in this game. We'd have equalised, or maybe even went on to beat them. But, again, them kind of managers are a bit arrogant. They would probably have left their attacking players on, whereas Ange didn't. He took off Son, he took off Maddison, and, he kind of put defensive players on to hold on to the point, really. I mean, the 3 point. Do you know what I mean? Yes, his interview is a bit like, but he knew what he was doing, and that, he's a good manager. I think they will finish in the top 4 as well. Going back to the dive, it was idiot, really. But we're not going to complain about it. It gave us a little bit of advantage. See if he won't. I don't think he'll be doing that again for the next 5 years. But yeah.
No, absolutely. Big up to Spencer in the chat. He says, hey, T, Dazzy and everyone else. Big up yourself. And this goes back to what I said. You know, a lot of teams are struggling with it. Liverpool obviously had it as well. So, yeah, like I say, it's sometimes just harder to deal with it. So that's why I wasn't, you know, as much as, you know, people will see it as an advantage. That's why I wasn't like, oh, come on, like, we definitely got a chance of getting something. You know, because I saw it in the Wolves game as well. It's similar in that sense, wasn't it?
So
and we had a lot more chances against Wolves as well, you know, compared to the Tottenham game.
We found that out in the Championship. I think there was a couple of times where we were playing against 10 men and things like that. Done it ourselves and gone on to win the game and things. It's different nowadays than what it was back in the day. You know, players are fitter, they're more tactical, astute. They go into a certain shape. They probably do it in training. You know, practicing these things, right? Going down to 10 men. Do you know what I mean? It's just common sense. So it's not 9 men, then you've got a problem, you know. But 10, certain teams can cope with it. You know, if we was playing, you know, MK Dons and they went down to 10 men, then damn right I'll be expecting us to do something about it. But
yeah,
you know,
yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, moving on to the second half, we'll just go straight into it. So obviously, Tottenham, you know, they took Richarlison off. I actually thought, even though that guy's been poor since he's been at Tottenham, you know, he's got the odd occasional goal. You know, I thought he'd probably score against us because it'd just be typical, wouldn't it? Former, you know, them player. You know, it just makes sense. But he didn't do nothing. Højbjerg obviously come on. You know, who I think, you know, is a decent player. And then obviously shortly after, they did take the lead from a corner. Van de Ven, you know, very good signing. You know, we've seen what he has the capabilities to do defensively. And, yeah, he chipped in with the goal. Maddison, obviously, you know, got it past one of our players. And, yeah, they took the lead. And, you know, in the second half, they had a lot of corners. And even throughout the game, to be honest. And to me, I said it on the watch long, it felt like a matter of time before they probably were going to score just because of the amount of corners they were having. And they looked dangerous from a lot of them. And they eventually got the goal, like I say, Van de Ven. People are saying Kaminsky should have done better, but, you know, the times I've played in goal, you know, you have shots like that. And yeah, there's a lot of people in the way of it. It's difficult to see sometimes. So I don't really blame him for it. You know, it's not as poor as his errors against, for me personally, against Fulham, West Ham, you know, them sort of games. But what did you make of the goal, Dad?
Yeah, again, you know, this is what happens. You know, it happened in the Wolves game. You show a player, especially on the right, whatever, like with real quality, you know, playing for it, you know, the World Cup, etc. You know what I mean? Because he probably will. And he done the similar sort of thing against Arsenal, where he just switched up the pace, similar to what Raheem Sterling done to us. You know that. I think it was Doughty that he left chasing shadows, and then from that, yeah, and he's excellent at doing that, passing it perfectly to the, you know, an attacker's feet, and yeah, the finish, he just opened his body up, left-footed. Keepers, most players are right-footed, you know, so, and it was quick, so there's not a lot Kaminsky could have done about that at all. You know what I mean? You know, and it was a quality goal, and that's what happens. Considering we should have scored literally whatever a couple of minutes before that. Elijah, great crossfield ball to him from Chio, and that's what I'm saying. Look at the similarity, well, not similarity, the difference. Sorry, Elijah tried to hit it with his right foot instead of just all he had to do was knock it in the net with his left. Whereas at the other end, mate boys opened up his body and he's right-footed and hit it with his left. Do you know what I mean? So he done the complete opposite, done it on, you know, and that's the quality difference, like, or the decision-making difference more than anything. And we're just snatching at chances, and that's the problem. But if you know, if these guys start scoring and then slowing it down just a millisecond, thinking about it that quicker, I know that that's what Premier League quality is. But then you adapt to that. You know, you've got the technical skills, so you've got to adapt to that. But yeah, it's real quality, and there's nothing you can do about that sometimes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then we tried, you know, we made quite a lot of substitutions, you know, to obviously try and get back into it. You know, a lot of attacking ones, obviously Berry, Woodrow, Chong, obviously the other player at that time, around about that time was Menji. And yeah, obviously it didn't quite work out. We then brought on Ross Barkley, you know, towards the end, but it was just poor. You know, we weren't even able to, you know, do passing like properly. You know, we were trying to play the ball across at times, and you know, it just they were going out for throws, etc. It just, yeah, it just wasn't that great in the second half, if we're being totally honest. But your summary of the second half?
Yeah, we are creating chances, and that's good. You know, we're doing that in pretty much every game. You know, probably the hardest game potentially we're supposed to have this season so far, and the narrowest defeat. And we should have got something out of the game. Maybe not necessarily deserved it if you base it on certain things, but Elijah should have scored. Brown should have at least got his header on target. Woodrow should have scored. There was loads of opportunities there to get a draw against an unbeaten team that's top of the league currently, but you know, probably going to finish in the Champions League. You know, it's on a real high at the moment. So you have got to look at that, but yet you're going to, you know, we keep not putting these chances away and keep saying the things over and over. But you've got to look at it for what it is. Eventually, we will put them away, you know, sooner than later, I reckon. But as long as the performance is there and you know, you're not getting absolutely dominated, like way, you know, competing, and that's what we're doing. So I'm pleased that we competed as well as we did. We should have done better with these chances. You know, them players are both better than that. Just snatching them. That's all it is. It's just kind of a nerve thing. That'll go within the next 2 to 3 games. And the thing is, both of them players, you know, they were poor, remember, against Exeter, Woodrow and America. Very poor. So that's another reason why they would have been snatching at their chances. Yeah, Elijah scored in the previous game, but still, you know, and Woodrow, that was probably in a way not worse, but the decision making there. Like Elijah had a split second, Woodrow had much more time. You know, as soon as Morris flicked it onto him, I thought that's it, he's in. But he didn't. He should have took another touch. He just went to one touch and shot. And it was annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah, second half was much better than the first. Narrow defeat. You know, we predicted it, so not surprising. But the performance was there, so that's the key thing.
Like you say, on that Woodrow chance, I was saying it on the watch long. I'm surprised he didn't take 2 touches. You know, it was a wasted opportunity in the end. You know, and that's what a few of them were. You know, for me in the second half, like you say, we could have got something out of the game. You know, against a very good, you know, Tottenham team at the moment. But yeah, that is that. Let's jump into the player ratings for obviously this game. So obviously in goal, Kaminsky. Like I say, for me, he couldn't have really done much on that goal. You know, he done that really good save in the first half, which, you know, is a good shot from Kulusevski. You know, a player I've always rated since he's, you know, joined Tottenham. I think he's quality. So, you know, that save was a good save. So I don't blame him for the goal. other than that, I think he was all right, to be honest. So I'll go over 6 with Kaminsky.
I thought he was quite decent, quite confident. He was up for this game. Decent to see. You know, we want him to be a Premier League keeper, and he has shown signs of that. And he's you know, against a big team, he was massively improved. I mean, a cut of decent saves. That one particularly, 7.5.
Fair enough. Moving on to the next player, we'll go over to Anderson. Obviously, for me, it was only right that he started, you know, especially with him not coming on against Burnley, not even, you know, starting. And yeah, I thought he was decent. Can't really think of too much wrong from him. If you're saying, for me, the best defenders, as in centre-backs so far, I'd probably say he's up there for us. You know, he's looked composed in pretty much every game. You know, people, not necessarily our fans, but, you know, neutrals, even though they're not fans like us, they were questioning, how's he doing that jump from League One to the Premier? And he's shown why he's more than capable of playing in it for me. So for me, I'm going to go with a 7.
I'll give him 7. I thought he was, you know, like I say, quite composed, not overwhelmed by you know, playing Tottenham. Didn't really see him panic in any situations. Was generally pretty good. Yeah, 7.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's go through some comments. Big up to Luca. He says, hi, big up yourself, mate. Jackie says, hi, Ty Daz. Kaminsky 7.5. So she's gone with the same as you with that, and hello as well. And then she's gone with a 7 as well for Anderson. Moving on to the next player, we'll move over to Lockyer. Big up to Lockyer, by the way. He did actually play yesterday for Wales. He actually got the opportunity to actually play a game. Would you believe it? For Wales. People go, yeah, but it's only a friendly. Why are you fussed? Well, he don't get an opportunity anyway. So about time, you know, friendlies are the best times to do it. And to be honest, he didn't really have much to do. But no disrespect to Gibraltar, they didn't really cause much, and they're not the greatest side, are they? So it was always, you know, and they were 4-0 up by the time he come on. So yeah, but fair play to him for that. But obviously in this game, you know, again, I can't really think of too much right or wrong. You know, the only thing I worry about with Lockyer is his pace is not, you know, he ain't got the fastest of pace. You know, we've seen throughout the season already, he can get caught out. Burnley game, first goal, the Wolves equaliser. But I don't think he was too bad in this game, from what I can really remember. So I won't go too high, but I won't go too low. I'll go with 6.5.
I'll give him. I'll give him a 7. Oh, I think he might disappear, guys. But yeah,
I'm still here. Just stop setting up.
I'm going to give him a 7. I thought he you know, showing that warrior mentality. He made a vital interception at one point. You know, he was winning headers. You know, he put his head in there. When Elijah kind of tried that freak goal, do you know what I mean? Like, and scored, but obviously, you know, it was a foul by Elijah. But he put his head in the danger zone, you know, and got into that position. His position is very good. You know, he's going to be key for us this season at times like that. He's already proved that, you know, with the first goal against Everton. I'll give him a 7.
Fair enough. Jackie's gone with the same as well. She's gone with a 7. Moving on to Reece Burke. Again, I didn't think he was too bad. Obviously, he was on the right side this time, not the left. Obviously, in that Burnley game, like I mentioned, he wasn't great. But again, I've never seen him play there, so it was interesting when I saw that. But in this game, again, I don't think he was too bad. So I'm going to go with another 7.
Yeah, I thought he's quite composed. Yeah, we were getting peppered and that, but it weren't necessarily like done. It was just the passes that they were playing. They were playing through the defence and things like that. It was a team sort of collective that was causing them issues, not individual players, which we've seen in previous games with Kabore just getting annihilated. It wasn't like that. So yeah, 7.
Fair enough. Jackie's gone with a 6.5 for Burke. Moving on to the next players, we'll start off with Doughty. Now, I don't think he was as great as previous games in this, but I think at the same time he has played a lot of games. Not all of a sudden, but obviously, he didn't start, like rightly so, but obviously he didn't start a lot of games towards the start, but like recently he's played every game pretty much. But yeah, a few balls that I thought he could have maybe got onto, didn't quite manage to, and I just don't think he was as great as what he can be in this game. So I'm just going to go over standard 6.
I think he was better than that. He could, he had that chance where he snatched at the shot again. He got a wicked cross in for Brown to header it like miles over the bar. He was a danger for us. Yeah, like I say, I expected him to potentially be rested for this game, but it wasn't. But I still think he put in a good shift for, considering. So I'm going to give him a 7.
Fair enough. Jackie's gone with the same as well. She says 7. Good crosses from him. Yeah, no, there was, but yeah, that's fair enough. We all got our own opinions, didn't we? So that's that. Moving on to Chio. Go over to Chio next. If I was to give a man of the match, it would be him. Like I say, he's a player you can't drop from the team sheet at the moment. Effective yet again. Really good, like you say, that ball across to Elijah. Brilliant ball. The header, obviously, like you mentioned, he blazed it over. He could have done better for me there, and I think he knew it, with his reaction. But again, after that, you can't drop him because he's one of them players who will just run at you, and he's not afraid of who you are. He'll run at you. So, yeah, for me, if I was to give a man a match, it would be him. And yeah, obviously, he looked like he was on that left. But then again, he could have been free roaming. So it's all interesting. But either way, best player that played for us, for me, that day. So I'm going to go with I'll go with 8.
I'll give him a 7.5. I thought he was good, energetic. But we know we're getting from him now. He ain't afraid to, run forward, get in the box and things like that. He probably was not our liveliest player, but from the midfield sort of section for me, yeah, big, making them direct runs and things like that. It was impressive. 7.5.
Absolutely. Jackie has also gone with the same as me. She's gone with 8 for Chio. But moving on to the midfield, we'll start off with Nakamba. Now, I don't think he weren't as good as he has been the last 2 games. I think the last 2 games prior to this, I give him man of the match, didn't I? Or would have in that Burnley game. Obviously, don't like to give him when we lose, but I thought he was good in that. This game I still felt he done all right because at times because obviously we love Ruddock and that, what a guy he is, what guy has been for the club and that, but at the same time sometimes especially in that Burnley game, a lot of times it felt like it was just Nakamba in midfield, because how open it was at times, especially that first goal, the way the ball's been played through the middle and then through the middle of the defence, it just weren't good enough. But in this game, I felt he made some decent tackles again. But he wasn't quite the same. It wasn't quite the same as previous games, but it wasn't awful. It wasn't like at the start of the season, even in the friendlies where he gave away that penalty. He weren't clumsy or anything like that. I just don't think he was as good as he has been. But I don't think he was awful at all. So I'll go with a 7 for Nakamba.
Yeah, I'll give him 7. I thought, basically, copying what you're saying. It weren't the worst. Generally, he was decent. He's in quite good form. There was a couple, particularly one sort of pass off. Well, he tried to hold on to the ball for too much longer or whatever and lost it and he burst forward. But Ruddock done that as well, more and more occasions. And when they changed, especially in the first half, it's just he can't do all that on his own. The whole team was just not on it. But in the second half, he was better. I'll give him 7.
Yeah, that's understandable. Like I say, we echoed similar thoughts on that. Jackie's gone with a 7.5 for Nakamba. And then moving on to Ruddock, like I said, a few sloppy passes from him. It is difficult because, obviously he does obviously have to really play because there's not really any other options, when it comes to midfield, especially defensively, other than Nakamba. Ruddock can do a bit of both. And that's why he's, getting these game time, because if you're basing it on if everybody was fit and, since that Exeter game, the way he performed as a captain, it just wasn't good enough. Let's just be honest now. So, you wouldn't be playing him, but you've got her at the moment. Yeah, I don't think he was great in this game. And obviously, he was a lot on the build-up on TNT Sports, obviously what the game was on. He was saying he's buzzing for it. So I expected better from him. I did, especially, I'm pretty sure, obviously he's, been at Luton for years, but I'm pretty sure he said one time his main team's Arsenal. So at the same time, you'd think he'd be even more up for this game, especially against Tottenham. But it just weren't great for me in this game, at all, if I'm really being honest. So I'm going to go with 6.
Yeah, I agree with him 6. Maybe he got a bit played the occasion and not the game. And yeah, he gave the ball away a couple of times, just trying to dribble it out of defence and things like that. Against Tottenham, I was thinking, no, what are you doing? And yeah, weren't really involved that much. We was under the cosh, so you're not really going to see him going forward and that. But yeah, he's just sort of, was it a square peg in a round hole, I think, playing in that position, really. But we ain't really got anyone else at the moment. So that's what it is. He's better sort of further forward for me. But yeah, 6, I'll give him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. He's better going forward. I'll say it's just a difficult one, isn't it? Because of the lack of options defensively. Obviously, defensively as a midfielder, obviously, Lukonga's out, and yeah, obviously, Campbell's been loaned out. He could do a bit of both, but it's one of them. It's one of them. But then moving on to the attackers, we'll start off with Brown. Like I say, for me, he just hasn't quite been the same since the Fulham game. Like I said, he's come back, helped out the defence, but doing his, main job, obviously attacking and trying to assisting, trying to get goals and that, he hasn't really been effective for me, and yeah, I can't really remember too much of him in this game, if I'm being honest. So I'm going with another 6.
Yeah, it weren't the greatest for him. It weren't too bad to certain aspects, but that header that he just blazed over the bar, that was disappointing. And again, he was probably a bit ahead of Pelly really in that respect. So but he does work hard, that you do get that from him, but it kind of didn't really work out in this game, and he's dropping off a little bit. So if he doesn't pick up a bit, then obviously Townsend will be playing in that position. So, but he's still a good lad, and I'm sure he he'll come good and score for us pretty soon. But yeah, I'll give him a 6 as well.
Yeah, no, I'll give him that. He does definitely work hard. Like I said, he's come back and helped out the defence a lot in games, but just doing his main thing at the moment is not quite there for me since the Fulham game. He's very unfortunate not scoring that game. But yeah, Jackie's gone for a 6 as well for Brown. Moving on to Elijah. We'll go over to Elijah. Now, obviously, we stand with Elijah. Obviously, he's unfortunately, had some abuse thrown at him, which is absolutely disgusting. Half them people saying that, not even Luton fans, telling you now. It just does my nutting seeing stuff like that. he was poor, but there's no need to, be like that towards him. No need to anyone. It's absolutely disgraceful. So yeah, I just wanted to get that in. All right, does my nut and seeing stuff like that. But yeah, in the game, obviously, from a footballing perspective, it wasn't great. Obviously the the chance, he should have just went with it with his left foot. Now we know it's his weaker foot, but like we said, it was the tapping really. He would have nine times out of 10 he would have scored that. Obviously the push as well. Like I say, you can't afford to do that on the goal that obviously didn't count because at the end of the day, like I say, there's cameras everywhere, VAR, saw it and. It obviously didn't count. So not great, especially if him getting that goal. We know he's a confidence player. We saw it in one of the biggest times for us. Obviously the playoffs. So we thought, I thought personally, start him. He's got a goal now, full of confidence. But yeah, it was just lacking that finish. And then obviously, that push was a bit silly. So again, I'm going with another 6, but like I say, we stand with him. Then people saying that, I'll tell you now, they're not Luton fans. But yeah, anyway, your rating for him, Dad?
Yeah, I'll give him slightly higher, 6.5. It was a bit of a bad miss. But the thing is, he was getting himself into them positions. The push was a bit cynical, but again, he was in the position. He just got to learn that he probably still would have won that header regardless, of the push. And he made a couple of good confident runs. I think that's what he needs. So I'll give him a 6.5.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Jackie's gone with a 6 as well, and she says them people are scum. Yeah, no, absolutely. I saw Luton Twitter, said that they saw some comments and that. It just does my nutting. Like people, I've said it. I don't really want to get into it now, but I'm going to quickly say it. When people make an account and stuff like that, they should have to do something that confirms that they are who they say they are, because it is becoming a joke now. The social medias, they're not doing enough for me. They're not doing enough. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. But yeah, moving on to the last player out of the starting 11. Obviously, that was Morris. Like I say, you can't drop him. I've said it numerous times at this, moment in time. He is the only player for us that's obviously got 2 or more goals. So based on that, you can't drop him. He's the number 9. He's always affecting games for me, even if he's not scoring. He's always affecting. Trying to make things happen. So yeah, I don't think he was awful in this game. I can't really think of too much from him in this game, but like I say, you can't drop him. So for me, I'll go with a 6.5.
Okay, interesting. Well, he's my man of the match. I'm going to give him 7.5. He created against a good Tottenham team. He looked lively. He wasn't phased. He's one of the only players that don't look phased at all. He was getting fouled left, right, and centre as usual, and things like that. Then had his nose busted and was playing like with tissue in his hand and still running around, like getting tackles in, trying to win the ball. I just really like that as well. And he's a warrior, and we know how dangerous. We've already know that he can score in the Premier League. He's not, he scored cut penalties. He scored, good right foot finish against Everton. He's had numerous opportunities. Been unlucky with some chances as well, and leads the line very well. If Elijah can come on and play a similar level to him, Woodrow, whoever, then we'll be doing all right. So yeah, I'm going to give it to him. Hope his nose is better.
Yeah,
I don't think it was, but you're still playing like that.
One moment in the game it fell out, didn't it?
Yeah, he was defending corners or attacking corners and that. with all that going on. You can't concentrate properly, but he's still doing it. So yeah, 7.5 man of the match for me.
No, that's fair enough. Like you say, with all that, I completely forgot until you brought it back up. No, that's absolutely true. Jackie says Morris still love him 7. Yeah, no, absolutely. Big up to Morris. I think I say that every time I say his name. Big up Morris, but yeah. And then moving on to the subs. Obviously, we'll start off with Menji. That I wasn't surprised we made that sub, but I was surprised we made that as the first sub. Needing that we needed to get a goal. I'm just gonna go. He looked composed again. What we've seen of him, but I'm not gonna go too high. But I'm not gonna go for standard 6. I'm gonna go for 6.5.
Yeah, he's looking confident. If you compare him to Kabore, for instance, Man City once come out when everyone's come from Man United, only known that sort of but he still played with and trained with very, very good players, excellent players. And he's I like Mendy. I've said it before. 6.5.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then moving on to Berry, Woodrow, and Chong. I'm going to do them all in one because they come on at the same time. Well, actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to do Berry and Woodrow as a Berry. I'm giving a 5.5. I expected a lot better from him. Woodrow, that shot was not good enough. Let's just be honest now. Should have took a touch and went for it. I was saying on the watch time, it's poor. It's a wasted opportunity. And then Chong, I thought he'd come on and he done okay. He done okay. When he come on against, I think it was Burnley, he looked good, and that's another reason we would have started him. Because of he looked like how he started off. His time at Luton, where he was, getting on the ball, making them passes out wide, making them runs, that sort of thing. So yeah, Chong, I'll go a bit higher for Chong. Chong, I'll go with 7, and then like I say, Woodrow and Berry, I'm going with a 5.5.
Chong, I'll give a 6.5. You come on, he wanted to affect the game. He's paying for a lot more. He's paying for his place, basically, his starting place. And sometimes players need that. And yeah, he looked lively when he come on. And he's going to get better and better. And then who else was it?
It was Berry and Woodrow.
Well, Berry, Woodrow, and this is how bad my man's performed in this game. Ross Barkley.
Yeah, I was going to get into this later on.
Berry just didn't see him. Like normally, when Berry comes on, he's like a super sub, or he affects the game defensively or attacking wise. He just didn't see him. So 5 for me. Woodrow, the same. He's kind of it's getting on my nerves a bit. I don't like saying things like that, but there's too many negative things that he's doing and he's done. And he was meant to be coming back, back to
we were more gassed about him than Morris.
And that would have been a perfect opportunity right there to do that. And he snatched it. And he's better than that. It's frustrating. 5.
Yeah. Amount of people, inside the club, Rob Edwards, Lockyer, have said he's the best finisher at the club. And that's why I'm so disappointed, because it's a wasted opportunity for starters, and I know he can do much better. I'm pretty sure that goal that he scored against Norwich, didn't he take a touch there and then ping it into the roof of the net? That's what I mean. We know he can do it. But yeah, we have seen him, have a few, negative stuff since he's come back.
Regarding these sort of chances and that, I do think that previously, when we've gone up through the leagues, we've signed players generally for the next league anyway, like all we think can do that, and generally come down from bigger teams and gone there, and started playing League 1, League 2, and then that sort of thing. But I think there's the mentality in the Premier League is totally different, because you need that extra sort of confidence a little bit, and decision making and stop like getting overwhelmed and snatching it. Do you know what I mean? Once they get that mentality, they'll be all right, I think. You know, because we know these players. We know they can do better. It's not like we're going, oh, yeah, you know, Elijah misses chances like that all the time. He doesn't. You know, Woodrow, you'd have expected it. You know he can do better. So it's just kind of that mentality thing. Because I think what it is they know the game's quicker, much quicker, and they've started to get used to that, you know, as in structure. But up front, then they're not really, you know, they're not realizing they've got that slight more time. Especially like when you've got a header. Like if you time that better, you're getting it on target. You're getting that goal. You know, you're getting into them positions, and I think that's like what's sort of overwhelming kind of thing. Because they're like, well, I'm in this position, like bang, I just got to take it now, shoot, or whatever. That's just the next. That's all we're lacking. If you think about it, that's all we're lacking, and that will get better. Especially, I think, with the signing of Townsend, because you know he's got that kind of mindset, and I think, you know, he's quite calm, things like that. So he hopefully can bring that, as I was discussing earlier about the Jerome situation, because Cameron Jerome is very much like that. So I think that's a clever signing, and then hopefully that'll G Barkley up as well to go, actually, okay, you know, who's the ball? You know, they're both have that kind of little bit of ego. Let's be honest. Do you know what I mean? Like, because they're both like played in the Premier League between them 400-500 times. So that's going to be interesting, and that it could be a very smart move.
Yeah, I hope it is. You know, the amount of times I've said we need to get an attacker, you know, that's experienced, and I think he'll do. Like I say, if he's injury free, I think he'll be a brilliant signing up until January, and then we'll just hopefully get someone else similar. You know, when it comes to that experience sort of thing, and it'd be ideal if they could play across the three, especially if we are to play this. Looks like a 3-4-3 for automation. It could be a lot of different things, but 3 up front. So we will see. But Jackie's ratings on the players that we said about: Menji 6.5, Woodrow 4.1, G's Berry 5, and then her rating for Chong is a 7. She also says, I'm very disappointed in him, obviously referring to Woodrow. Yeah, like I say, obviously we were very excited, you know, when he come in, more excited than Morris. But then again, that was because, you know, let's be honest, we didn't know too much of Morris. I certainly didn't. You know, I knew that he, you know, was a massive part of Barnsley, you know, when they got the playoffs and, you know, etc. But, you know, Woodrow being a former player as well, you know, for us, obviously playing for us throughout the academy, we thought, yeah, this is like going to be sort of a Woodrow 2.0, even better sort of thing. But he just hasn't lived up to that. You know, he's had a few odd moments, but it's not enough. It's not enough. And don't get me wrong, I know he doesn't start every game, but even in games, you know, where he's started some of them, he's not, you know, done much. Like a lot of these players, it was a good opportunity for them against Exeter. And if we're being honest, most of them bottled it. You know, let's just be serious now. So, yeah, I definitely agree. And there's another thing as well, you know, even the Sunderland game last season in the league, just throwing the ball away and acting all innocent. It's silly. What are you doing? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I know that frustrated you, because I remember you saying it to me, but even when I was obviously there, I was like, what is he doing? But there we go. Big up to Hanno, says, hi guys, big up yourself. God's sake, yeah, a lot of people have been saying this, but hopefully he does.
He'll be fine. He'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah. And then Jackie agrees with you. But yeah, moving on to the last player, obviously briefly, you know, said his name earlier, Ross Barkley. Come on with 9 minutes left, but it was we had a lot more of the ball in the second half, you know, and we were going forward, so we thought, you know, it's a good opportunity, but he was poor. He was awful when he come on. You know, one thing that really annoyed me, two actually, was, you know, you know, a lot of people giving him heavy criticism in the first game. I weren't really on that because of the, you know, I weren't at the game as well. So, you know, obviously after the game, he didn't go with the fans, etc. But in this game, there's a moment where Tottenham had a corner, you know, and I could tell he was just like, he's moaning, he was saying like this and that, like it's just muttering. He's probably thinking to himself like, why am I in this team sort of thing. That's what it seemed like to me, you know, just based on how he didn't exactly say that, but it just looked like it to me. And then there was a moment where he played the ball across the Doughty. A terrible ball for his standards. It's awful, absolutely awful. Now, like I said, I know Doughty weren't, you know, great in this game, you know, but he was never getting that. You know, it went out. Like I said, it weren't just Ross Barkley that done it. There's a few times we switched the ball in this game, and it was just terrible, absolutely terrible. Like if we were playing rugby and there was tries, then we'd have been all right. But seriously, some of the passes across were awful in this game. He done that as well. Weren't happy with that. And yeah, like I say, weren't good enough. Weren't good enough for me. You know, when he come on in this game. So I'm going with the same as what I gave Woodrow and Berry, 5.5.
Yeah, I'll give him a 5. You know, we know he's got better ability. Fucking just useless in this game. Pointless bringing him on. I don't know if he's got that. People keep pointing certain things where he's clapping, he's not with the rest of the players and that. And could be, mate, fuck him off then. I don't necessarily, you know for a fact he's got that attitude. But why would you? Like you're letting yourself down. I don't think that is the case. It can't be the case because you're letting yourself down. Do you know what I mean? Like Luton are meant to be not meant to be, but to some people, a small club, this, that, and the other, and you can't even perform for them. You're letting yourself in that if that's your mentality kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I don't think it is that. I just think that he just needs to find his actual, you know, because I think what it is it was when we signed him, everyone was like, yeah, he's the key man, he's the baller, he's gonna make things happen and things like that.
Yeah.
Whereas we haven't really used him like that as well, to be fair. Do you know what I mean? We've put up he had that injury and whatever. But we haven't used him like that. So maybe that's affecting, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Maybe that's affecting the way things are going. Who knows? We'll see. Right. I expect to see better. You know, I swear Lansbury started like this when we first signed him. Very similar. And then just started, you know, winning over the fans, scoring, you know, putting some good tackles. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he started similar. There was times where he was just, and then, you know, he scored that absolute, you know, better goal. Like he's, you know, this Barkley should be doing exactly the same, if not better, because you say he's a better player than Ross Barkley, yeah, and Snodgrass. He's like a combination of both of them, so he should be showing that. Yeah, 5.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Jackie, not been impressed with Ross Barkley so far. No, I haven't either. She's gone with 5 as well, and she's rolled on January essentially. But yeah, I'm not going to go that far yet. But if it does carry on like this, then we'll see. But I think bringing in Townsend's going to benefit us, and I hope I'm not, you know, because I was gassed for Ross Barkley. Like, who wasn't? You know, let's be honest. You know, because of the name, you know, the experience and etc. But he's just not lived up to it yet. So
yeah, point that out, like, because I think people are probably a little bit more dubious now about Townsend because the way, you know, the Barkley situation as well, and he's older, and then he's had injuries, but a lot of players have had injuries throughout their careers. The fact is, you know, he's played for, you know, he's got ability. He just does his job well. You know, similar to probably Nakamba, but in the attacking sense. That's what I think we're going to get from him. And, you know, and again, he's got to prove himself. Obviously, he's probably going to retire soon, more than likely. But maybe if he wants another shot playing for certain teams, I don't know. But let's see what happens.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, like I say about Townsend, if he's injury free, I think he'll do well for us till January, and hopefully we get someone in similar. Like I say, with the experience. And
yeah, but also, sorry to butt in, mate.
That's all right.
Potential we could sign him in January. He's with us till January, but I don't think that's like. If he scores 5-6 goals, you can go, all right, thanks. Happy New Year, and let him go. No, you're gonna try and sign him for longer, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I think just covering ourselves, because I think it might be partly to do if he failed a medical at Burnley for whatever reason, and maybe then certain things are strict. Maybe that's part of it. So if he does get injured in between that time, then we won't re-sign him. But I think if he stays fit and that, I think we'll be looking to extend that until at least the summer.
Yeah. No, like you say, it comes down to his goals, his assists, and if he's another thing it could be as well. Even though he took a massive wage cut at the same time, Luton have probably looked at it. If he's not playing up to the standard, which we know he can, then they'll ship him off essentially in January. So that's another thing as well, I think. But yeah, that is the player ratings. Obviously, highest rated players for both of us. Obviously, I went with Chio. You went with Morris. Any final things you'd like to say on that Tottenham game?
Let's be honest. Biggest team that we've played probably so far at Kenny. Biggest game of the season, probably the hardest team we've had to face, and it was a narrow defeat. So let's look at that. Take that into account. I'm still waiting for it. I know we're going to get battered by someone, but the longer it's going on, the more confident you get, and it still happened. But this thing, if the season finished now, or we'll be happy. We're above the relegation zone. Let's crack on from there and just keep proving people wrong. And that's the proof that we have been getting better. Because if we hadn't been getting better, we wouldn't be in the position we were in. And we just need to knock them goals, and it'll come. It will, definitely will. And then they've made this decision. They've gone, right, he's available. Let's look at him. Let's get him in. What have we got? That's it. Making them certain decisions at the right times. That's why we kept that space potentially as well. A lot of the stuff that goes on in the background for Luton Town Football Club is underestimated massively, and even ridiculed in the wrong way by all these egotistical fools on social media and things like that. No, you need to be spending money. You need to shut your mouth and him or something like that and just be quiet. Yeah. Stop acting like a moron, So it's all good. It's all nice. We're looking good. We got another little break. These little breaks help us as well. Nottingham Forest, played them recently. We're obviously going to get into it too much, but we've done well against them generally. This is, I think we're quite evenly matched, to be honest with you. Believe it or not, like some people might be talking about, but they've got a lot of strong athletic players and similar like ways up front and that. But yes, I'm looking forward to that game, to be honest. And if we should at least be getting something out of it, in my opinion. So let's look forward to that. So we've got a tough game after that, and then obviously we've got
3 tough games. Like any game's tough, but the 3 after that are proper tough for me. Levels.
So and that will be a big test for us, and this is why we need to kind of like get some points out of the next 2 games definitely, and then you're in a certain position in the table, and there's no such thing as free hits necessarily, but in the Premier League they're kind of that you're going to take. Are we going to beat Liverpool? We're going to beat Man City. We're going to beat Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? You've got to, if you get it, you get it. Do you know what I mean? But generally, you're not going to get it. It happens all the time in the Premier League. Like, they don't lose that often to certain teams. It's not like the Championship where anyone can beat anyone. Generally, it's not like that. Well, it can be, but for an up and coming team generally, like there's always a team that beats one of the big boys, though, or a couple. There's always one of the teams that'll do it, and we are the most likely team to do it, in my opinion, especially at Kenilworth Road. So yeah, let's just keep enjoying it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. A few more comments. Jackie says we was looking at that South African player. They turned us down, though, not enough money.
Yeah, that's good then. Don't bother, innit? Like,
yeah, that's what I was going to say. And also, apparently,
you are proven, mate. You have never played in the Premier League, like whatever. If you're asking for 60, 50, whatever, 40k a week, no, mate, you got to prove that. Don't work like that. And we'll get there. Obviously, we're going to learn by the way we're scouting and going into Europe and global now, basically looking for players where we wasn't doing that before, So there'll be lessons learned there, but obviously the money thing straight away, we're going, no, mate. We've got to keep to that. So yeah, it doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, now something I was going to say is I'm glad anyway, to be honest, because I'm not going to sit here and say I've seen the guy because I don't watch, that league of football. But apparently he was the quote unquote next Moises Caicedo. So if that's the case, then we don't need a player like that. Like, we don't need a player in that position for me. I mean, I sort of get it because Lukonga's out, but at the same time, we ideally needed an attacking player, for me, because we're not even doing bad defensively in that. First two games, yeah, whatever. But look at the teams. Look at the teams. Like, since then, we progressed and not conceded as much in games. So, for me, we needed an attacker. So I'm glad we've got Townsend over this person, to be honest. When it comes to that, Jackie on the Tottenham game, she says at the end of the 1-0 was a good score. I believe we will get there. Come on, you Hatters. Yeah. No, absolutely. For me, as soon as we start hitting the back of the net, I think we'll be there. It's just when for me. It's just when, and like you say, it needs to be soon because obviously every game's tough in the Prem. But I think the three after Forest, Villa away, that's not an easy place to go. Look at some of the results they've had. They beat Brighton 6-1, at home. And they've had a few other good results at home. Their atmosphere is the whole end. Good stadium, good loyal fans. Then obviously Liverpool at home.
Tell you what though, good interest. The Campers old team, so that'll
True.
Be as well.
And then obviously after Liverpool, it's obviously Man U away. Yeah, they're not in the greatest of form, but they are at Old Trafford in that game. So again, another difficult place to go to. Look how they come back against Brentford as well. Everyone thought they were down and out, let's be honest, especially how they've been throughout the season. So there we go. We will see with that. What do you mean, late boys in the streams? Yeah, the next couple of hat shows are going to be a bit later on, as in this one and the one next Friday. So yeah, if that's what you're on about, then yeah. But big up yourself. Apparently they did for more money, but like I said, mate, I'm not too fussed because at the end of the day, he was rumoured to be the next Moises Caicedo. And for me, we don't really need a player in that position. As much as I've been saying, there's a lack of options now when it comes to defensive midfielder. At the same time, we need more of an attacker. So I'm happy we've got Townsend over this guy. A lot of you are not Woodrow's biggest fans. So there we go with that. But one more thing I did want to talk about before we wrap up. And yeah, I'm not too sure why it said 6:30 because it was definitely at 7. But anyway, that is that. But yeah, shooting practice. Talking about that, it has been used. I've seen in the Twitter or Luton Twitter. Probably the thing they use the most when it comes to social media. They have been taking shooting practice. I see Ross Barkley scored a banger. I think it was Elijah. So hopefully they just start doing this in the games, you know what I mean? Because for me, as soon as we start hitting the back of the net, that is where I'll be a lot more confident because, yes, we're improving in these games. Yes, we're showing we can compete at this level. But at the same time, we need to be hitting, we need to be hitting the back of the net, because if you're not, you're going to get punished. And, games like that Tottenham game, you saw it, for example, didn't you? When obviously, Elijah's tried to hit it with his right. Van der Ven, who is predominantly right-footed as far as I'm aware, he's hit it with his left and he scored. That's the difference. Elijah would have scored for me 9 times out of 10, it's an open goal, but he's just tried to hit it with his right, which has messed it up. So we've been doing shooting practice, like I said, like I've seen on the Twitter. So hopefully we, start scoring them goals, very soon. So like I said, every game's tough in the Prem, but the 3 after are more difficult for me. They're then obviously not Nottingham Forest. So, yeah. But any final thing, Dad, you seen a bit of this, the shooting practice in training?
No, I haven't, but I think that's more of a like a PR thing to show that, we are doing, that. And I think it's not necessarily the shooting practice as in basic, shooting practice. It's shooting practice in the terms of the positions and like that we're getting into in the game. So we're probably playing like that, like the other teams, a defensive Premier League team kind of thing, and them sort of situations more than just pepper it at the goal. And you should be getting basic stuff. I think it's more technical, but yeah, it's good that they're quite open with that, and it's just obviously showing the best bits and the best goals from that to say, look, that's all it is, and that's what we've been saying all along. Basically, we know that once they start getting them goals, which we did against Everton, but a lot of games we've just should have scored. But you get that in the Premier. I mean, look at Tottenham. Should have been 3 up, 4 up. Some people were saying they were missing chances. People like Richarlison, Maddison, Son. I mean, these players here. So it can't be grumbling too much. But they will come. They will come because they're professional footballers, and they've got certain abilities that have got them to where they are in the first place. So yeah, it's good to see.
Absolutely. I just wanted to wrap it up on that. But any final things you'd like to say in general about anything, Dad?
No. We're trying to itch for me to do a prediction for the KSI Tommy Fury fight. So.
If you really want to, there's a little thing I want to say at the end of this stream.
I'll just quick, he's going to get hurt. And you'll be hearing Tommy Fury at the end state, this is why you don't play boxing. This is why, there's levels. This is, YouTube. That's what you're going to see. So be prepared for that. He's going to get beaten. But
Fair enough. But like I say, that is the end of the Hatter Show. Obviously, episode 124. Obviously, we'll be back again next Friday, and we've got something quite big planned for the game on Saturday. So we're going to try something out. It's not quite a watch along. It's not quite there, but it's something else. So yeah, we'll see how that goes, and I might do it going forward if you guys like it. Yeah, obviously we've got preview, obviously before then, and all of that sort of thing. So yeah, obviously there's that. As for content on the channel, I was thinking of doing a watch along to the England game tomorrow, even though it is only a friendly. But because I did do a poll the other day on this whole, Prime event, obviously the Prime card, all of that sort of thing. It's quite a big event. Could be one of the biggest, on the zone of the sense of, millions of views and that sort of thing. I'm going to plan to do a lot of content around it, previews to all the fights, and obviously a watch along to it all on Saturday. So I'm going to not do an England watch along tomorrow, but there will be a video out tomorrow predicting a whole card, and then obviously a watch along on Saturday to that. And then obviously for England games, because the yearly game's quite big, because of the rivalry, what's happened over the previous years, and vice versa. Obviously, I will do a watch along to that, and that is a European qualifier as well. So keep that going when it comes to that. But I think that's that upon that. But like I say, episode 124 of the Hatter Show done. So big up to everyone who joined and all of that. The current likes is on, let's have a look. On the last looks, we were on 10. We are now on, we're still on 10. So if you could smash that like button, that'd be much appreciated. Subscribers, we gained like 3 yesterday. So big up to yourselves for that. We're currently on 1,818. So hopefully we can get to the 1,820 mark fairly soon. But like I said, I know a lot of people watch this back on playback as well. So smash a like there. Do subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell. Few new subscribers on the extra channel as well. So appreciate that. We're currently on 86 on there. Try and get to 100 soon on that. If you want to follow me across any of my socials, link to them are in the description. And yeah, that is that. My dad will see you next Friday. And I will see you lot tomorrow, but Saturday live again. So yeah, until then, take care and peace. Up the town.